So you want to own a bar of your own. You picture a warm room full of laughing people every night, drinks flowing, music playing, and the register ringing non-stop. It looks like the most fun business anyone could ever own. And here is the part that makes it so tempting. Of all the small businesses, none has a markup quite like this. The numbers seem almost too good to possibly be real. The markup on alcohol is almost unbelievable in this business. A single bottle of liquor costs the bar around $20. Poured into cocktails, that same bottle can sell for hundreds. So a bar looks like a machine that turns cheap liquor into gold. But here is the secret that every bar owner learns the hard way. That incredible markup is exactly what makes the business so dangerous. Because the same easy money attracts fierce competition and heavy costs, and the profit vanishes in 100 quiet ways behind the bar. Tonight we break down what a bar actually sells behind the bottles. The room is lively, but the real question is far simpler. Where does the money come from, and where does it quietly disappear? So tonight we do one thing above all else: we follow the money. We trace every dollar from the first one spent to the last one kept, and by the end, you will see the machine hiding behind the bar. Let's start with what almost nobody understands about a bar. A bar looks like a place that sells drinks to thirsty people. It is actually a business selling atmosphere, priced by the glass. Nobody has to leave home to drink alcohol at all. Liquor is far cheaper at any store down the street. So people are not really paying a bar for the drink itself. They are paying for the room, the crowd, and the night out. They pay for the music, the energy, and somewhere to belong. The drink is just the ticket that lets you stay in the room. That is why the same beer costs triple what it does at home. You are renting a seat in an experience, not just buying a beer. Think of the drink price as an entry fee paid each round. The better the atmosphere, the more people will happily pay per glass. A dead, empty bar cannot charge those prices for the same drink. So the bar is really selling energy, and the drink is the receipt. Now hold that idea, because it explains everything that follows tonight. Before any of that, you have to survive opening the doors at all. And opening a bar is far more expensive than most people dream. The total cost to open a bar varies enormously by size and style. A small neighborhood bar might open for a few $100,000. A large trendy club can cost several million to build out. The single largest and most feared cost is often the liquor license. In many places, a license to sell alcohol is strictly limited. Only a fixed number exists, and you must buy one from someone selling. In some cities, a liquor license can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the most extreme markets, the price climbs even higher than that. That single piece of paper can cost more than the entire build-out. It is a strange asset, worth a fortune yet just a permit, and it can take many months of waiting to be approved. Every month of delay is rent paid on a bar that cannot open. Many hopeful owners run out of money before they ever pour a drink. In some towns, buying an existing bar is the only real way in. You are really buying its precious license as much as its walls. That scarcity keeps the number of bars in check in some cities, and it makes every existing license quietly worth a small fortune. Then comes the build-out itself, the bar, the taps and the coolers. A long custom bar with taps and refrigeration is very expensive. Then you install the sound system, the lighting, and the seating. Then you stock the bar with thousands of dollars of liquor. Then come the permits, the insurance, and the trained staff. Bar insurance is costly because serving alcohol carries real legal risk. Add it all together and the barrier to entry is steep. This is why so many new bars are chronically undercapitalized. Owners spend everything to open and keep nothing in reserve. They pour their whole fortune into the license and the build-out. Then the first slow month arrives and there is no cushion left. A bar with no reserve cannot survive the quiet early days. And almost every new bar has quiet early days to survive. Now the doors are open and the real machine starts to run. Here is how a bar actually makes money, layer by layer. The first and most profitable layer is the liquor itself. Spirits poured into cocktails carry the fattest margin in the building. A cocktail might sell for $12 and cost $2 to make. That is the famous markup that makes bars look so appealing. A single bottle of vodka might yield 16 or more cocktails. Each of those pours turns $2 of liquor into 12. On paper, one $20 bottle becomes nearly 200 in sales. That is the number that pulls dreamers into the bar business. The second layer is beer and wine, steady but thinner in margin. Draft beer is cheap to pour but sells fast in high volume. Bottled beer earns less, but people order it all night long. Wine sits in the middle, with a healthy markup by the glass. A bottle of wine bought for $10 sells for $40 by the glass. Draft beer flows from a keg at just pennies per pour. These steady sellers may earn less per drink than a cocktail, but they move in huge volume, filling the register all night long. The third layer is food, if the bar chooses to serve it. Food usually earns a thinner margin than the drinks themselves, but food keeps people in their seats and ordering more rounds. A hungry crowd that stays longer spends far more on drinks. Salty bar food quietly makes people thirsty for another round. That is no accident. It is a gentle nudge toward more drinks. Food also lets a bar open earlier and catch the dinner crowd. It turns a late-night bar into an all-evening money machine. The fourth layer is the events that pack the room on slow nights. Trivia nights, live music, sports games, and private parties. Each one fills the bar on a night that would sit empty, and a full room drinking for hours is where bars truly win. A private party can book the whole space for a guaranteed sum. Sports nights turn a quiet Sunday into a packed, thirsty crowd. These events are how a smart bar defeats the empty calendar. They turn dead hours into some of the most profitable of the week. Before we go deeper, here is a question worth sitting with. When you pay $12 for a cocktail, what are you buying? The ounce of liquor, or the whole night wrapped around it? Tell me your honest answer in the comments as we continue. Now here is the counterintuitive part that surprises almost everyone. That incredible liquor markup does not make bars easy to run. It makes them one of the riskiest small businesses of all. Because everyone can see that markup, so everyone opens a bar. The visible profit is exactly what floods the market with rivals. When a business looks too easy, competition rushes in to crush it. The fat margin gets split among a dozen bars on the same street. Every town is crowded with bars fighting over the same drinkers. A hot new bar can steal your whole crowd in a single season. Bar customers are famously loyal only to wherever the fun is tonight, so that fat margin is constantly under attack from every direction. And behind the bar, the profit leaks away in a dozen quiet ways. The biggest leak of all is theft and overpouring by staff. This is the hidden enemy that quietly destroys bar after bar. A bartender who pours a little heavy gives away your profit. A bartender who gives free drinks to friends steals it outright. A few extra ounces on every pour vanishes into thin air. The owner never sees it, but the margin bleeds away nightly. Studies suggest bars lose a shocking share of their liquor this way. Some of it is theft, some is waste, some is generous friends. On a business built on thin real margins, that loss is fatal. This is why bars obsess over counting every single bottle. They measure pours, track inventory, and watch the register closely. Some bars weigh their bottles at the end of every single night. Others install cameras and metered pour spouts on every liquor bottle. A well-run bar is really a war against its own leakage. The owner who ignores this war will lose it without ever knowing. Now let's turn the machine around and look at the other side. Here is what it costs to keep those doors open every month. Rent is the first great cost, and bars want prime locations. A lively spot in a busy nightlife district costs a fortune. Then comes payroll for bartenders, servers, cooks, and security. A busy bar needs a small army of staff every single night. And good bartenders expect strong wages plus their nightly tips. A great bartender can build a loyal crowd that follows them everywhere. That gives your best staff surprising power over your own business. Lose a popular bartender, and you may lose their regulars too. The people pouring the drinks are half of what keeps people coming. Then come the utilities for coolers, lights, and sound running late. A bar burns power deep into the night, every night. Then there is the constant restocking of liquor, beer, and wine. Inventory walks out the door as fast as you can buy it. Then add insurance, licensing fees, security, and endless small repairs. Broken glasses, spilled drinks, and worn furniture never stop costing money. Add it together, and a bar burns cash at a frightening rate. This is why so many bars fail within their first few years. Now let's look at the ways a bar can quietly fall apart. The first killer is the theft and waste we just described. Uncontrolled pours and staff theft can erase the entire profit. The second killer is the fickle nature of the nightlife crowd. Bars go in and out of fashion faster than almost any business. The packed hotspot of this year is the empty room of next year. A newer, cooler bar opens nearby, and the crowd simply moves on. Nightlife runs on novelty, and novelty never lasts very long. The crowd is always chasing the newest, most exciting room in town. Yesterday's favorite bar becomes tonight's forgotten and half-empty space. No amount of loyalty can hold a crowd that craves the next new thing. The third killer is the brutal problem of dead nights. A bar makes most of its money on just 2 or 3 nights. Friday and Saturday must carry the quiet, empty weeknights too. If the weekend crowd fades, the whole week collapses with it, and the fixed costs roll on through every dead Tuesday night. The rent is the same on a packed Saturday and an empty Monday. The staff must still be paid to stand behind an empty bar. This is why bars fight so hard to fill their slow nights. Every trivia night and happy hour is a battle against the empty room. To see how the smart money plays this game, look at large hospitality groups. Some of the most successful bar owners never run just one bar. They build entire groups of bars and restaurants under one company. A famous example is the empire built around celebrity chef concepts. These groups spread their risk across many venues at once. When one bar cools off, another new concept is already rising. They share staff, suppliers, and buying power across every location. Buying liquor for 10 bars means far cheaper prices on every bottle. A shared team of managers can police the pours at every venue. Scale gives them control that a single struggling owner can never match. They can absorb a single failure that would ruin a lone owner, and they turn the fickle nightlife into a diversified portfolio. The lone bar owner is betting everything on one room staying popular. The group owner is running a machine designed to survive any single flop. That is the difference between a gamble and a real business. Now let's put real numbers on a single bar, illustratively. Imagine a busy neighborhood bar earning $80,000 a month. The liquor, beer, and wine bring in most of that revenue. On paper, the drinks carry an enormous markup and look wildly profitable. But now follow that money out through the costs of the night. The cost of the alcohol itself takes $20,000. Rent takes $8,000, and payroll takes $30,000 more. Notice that payroll alone is bigger than the entire liquor cost. The people serving the drinks cost more than the drinks themselves. Utilities, insurance, and licensing take another $8,000. Restocking, repairs, and waste quietly eat $6,000 more. That leaves roughly $8,000 in monthly profit. On $80,000 in sales, that is only 10%. Read that number again because it destroys the easy money dream. The cocktail carries an 80% markup. The business carries 10. That gap between the pour and the profit is the whole story. Everything between the bottle and your bank account eats that margin alive. The rent takes its share. The staff takes a bigger share still. The waste, the theft, and the dead nights take their share too. By the time every hand has reached in, the fortune is a trickle. The famous markup was real, but it was never the whole picture. Now follow that money back to the fortune spent to open the bar. At that rate of profit, the payback stretches over many years, and that assumes the crowd stays loyal through every one of them. So let's walk through the 2 years that decide a bar's fate. In the good year, the bar becomes the place everyone wants to be. The weekends are packed and the weeknight events fill the room. Word of mouth spreads and a line forms outside the door. The energy feeds on itself as a full room draws even more people. Tight control keeps theft low, and every pour is measured. The fat drink margins finally flow through to real profit. A hot, well-run bar can make its owner very wealthy. The best operators roll that success into a second and third venue. They use one hot bar as the launch pad for a whole group. The profit from the busy room funds the next new concept. This is how a single lucky bar becomes a lasting empire. Trace that profit back against the fortune it took to open. In a strong run, that investment pays back over several years. In the bad year, a newer bar opens and steals the fashionable crowd. The weekend lines vanish and the weeknights fall completely silent. Staff theft creeps up as managers stop watching the pours closely. The rent, the payroll, and the license fees roll on unchanged. A half-empty bar still needs almost the same full staff and lights. The energy drains away, and an empty room drives away even more people. The same fickle crowd that once flooded in now flows somewhere new. Soon the fat margins cannot cover the heavy fixed costs. A bar that loses its crowd bleeds cash with frightening speed. The same room, the same bottles, Two completely different outcomes. The difference was never the liquor, it was the machine underneath. This is the truth that no daydream about owning a bar includes. A bar looks like a place that sells cheap drinks at high prices. Underneath, it is a fragile business selling a feeling by the hour. The famous liquor markup is real, but so are the hidden leaks. The profit hides behind theft, competition, dead nights, and heavy rent. Just as the big groups prove, survival comes from control and scale. So here is the one lesson to remember from all of this. The markup on a drink is not the same as profit in the bank. A bar can pour gold all night and still quietly go broke. The next time you pay $12 for a simple cocktail, remember you are not really paying for the ounce of liquor. You are paying for the room, the crowd, and the night itself. And the owner is fighting a quiet war to keep any of it. Because you do not win this game by having the biggest markup. You win by controlling every pour and keeping the room full. The drink is the easy part, the control is the whole game. So can a bar work? Yes, but only under one condition. Only if you follow the money past the markup into the leaks. Only if you guard every pour and fill every quiet night. Only if you keep the crowd loyal in a business built on novelty. Do that, and the most fun business in town can be yours. If this breakdown showed you the machine the dream never did, subscribe. Next time we break down the economics of owning a self-storage facility. A business that quietly earns rent on empty space nobody ever visits. The doors are open. Now you know where the money really hides.